What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Criminal Minds Season 12, Episode 10, Seek and Destroy. So, yeah, this was just another Criminal Minds episode. There was some good stuff, there was some bad stuff, so let's talk about it. First of all, the good stuff. One, I like the different sort of feel of the criminals in this one. You know, first of all, it's a team of people, but also it felt like, you know, while there were murders going on, it wasn't the entire team. It was just one guy and this group of kids who were just wanting to go out and have a good time, pretty much. You know, take back what life took away from them. I like the motivations that these kids had. You know, it felt a bit more realistic. It felt like these were not the normal, like, crazy, way out there serial killers we see day in, day out on the show. This one was a lot more humanistic, in my opinion, except for obviously the two, like, leaders, I guess, of the group. But yeah, I like the fact that these kids felt a lot more human than most of the criminals that the team chases down. The other good thing about it was I like the fact that it was a little bit of a twist at the end where we start to realize that this guy who he looked like he had been in charge this entire time. You know, he was the only sober one at the party. He was the one that goes in and kills people but doesn't tell the rest of the group. And so I was thinking the whole time that he was in charge, and at one point we're finally going to get to the moment where he goes back and tries to go after his family, because that seemed like what they were talking about, what was going to happen. Well, we get towards the end, and obviously the group will start turning on each other once they've realized that he's killing people. And so we get to this house, and he, all of a sudden, like, the girl, I guess it was kind of his girlfriend, but she starts, like, it looks like she's the one trying to take control, and it's just like, he's going to shut that down quickly. Well, soon enough, all of a sudden, one of the other girls in the group takes a knife to his throat and threatens him to put the gun down. And then, kind of a weird scene, she, like, backs away, and then his girlfriend, like, comes up and sure enough shoots him and kills him. And then turns around and faces the two people they were holding hostage, and like, "Hi, Mom and Dad." It's like, oh, so it was actually her. She was the one that was kind of behind everything. The reason why they were taking on these houses, and the one who wants to go back and take it to her parents, because it was her story that they were talking about, that they were putting onto the guy that we thought was in charge. So I like the fact that there was a little bit of a twist in there. It wasn't straightforward. It was actually something to think about. It was something that you couldn't just watch and just turn your mind off for. You actually have to think about that and consider everything that you thought up until that point is now completely put onto her. You know, his story that we were attributing to him is now hers. So I like the fact that they managed to do that. However, there were some problems. You know, aside from the case being fairly interesting, one, the performances. Yeah. First of all, the new team member I talked about him last week, Steven, still the same exact as last week. And I hate the fact that we have him as the new team member. It has nothing to do with him. You know, there are probably people going to be screaming racist just because he's black. Actually, that's more racist if you're thinking I'm racist just because he's black and I don't like him. It has nothing to do with the color of his skin. His delivery is so monotone and boring, though. I mean, everybody else on the team, there's inflection, there's so many people that just have emotion when they're talking, and he's just sitting there and there's no inflection. It's always just one note, monotone, so very deep, and he's not talking at all normal, and it's show me some emotion, please. Either that or get off the team. I'm watching this, and all I can think is, this show is in some serious need of either Hotch or Spence to come back. You know, please bring them back. Obviously, Spence is still on the team. Hodge is probably not coming back. But, God, Spencer needs to come back right now, because this team needs life back into it, because it feels like this guy sucks all the life out of the team. And the problem was this episode was more focused around him just because a buddy of his called him from the other side of the country, and he's the one that got the call to come check this whole case out. So it was a little bit more focused on him, and that made it even worse. You know, in fact, I had to hear more from him. You know, at the very end, they're all on the plane, and you see Prentice get up and start walking towards the other side of the plane. I'm like, please don't go sit down next to Steven. please don't go sit. She sits down next to Steve. I'm like, no, I don't want to listen to him anymore. So yeah, that's a problem. Some of when the kids were partying, some of that was just extremely cheesy. I don't. Obviously, I was not really the party type, so I can't really tell you if this is what they look like, but I don't think this is what they look like. One of the girls is like playing air guitar and getting on her knees, and they're all like, woohoo, yeah, and like shaking their heads around. I'm like, what is this? This is partying? And on top of that, the girl who ends up being the main girl behind everything, her laugh was just so annoying. It's like, ha ha ha! I'm like, what is this? What are we on, a Saturday Kids cartoon show? Are we on Teen Titans Go right now? Not that I watched that show. I've seen a couple episodes just because, unfortunately, my cousins like it for some reason. But that's what it felt like. It felt like we were on some cheesy kids show. The way she was laughing and cackling and stuff. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then the final thing, of course, is what did really the team do? Obviously they figured it out and they showed up just in the nick of time at the very end. But it felt like things probably would have ended right there anyway. Like, her parents probably would have died, of course, and she probably would have... I feel like she probably would have killed herself at the end of it. But aside from that, I mean, things just didn't seem... most of the time you see where, okay, the team is affecting the investigation. They're doing everything they can. The villain knows that the FBI is trying to track him down. In this one, the team didn't even realize that the FBI were looking for them at all. And honestly, like, the way it was set up at the end, the main guy had already died. The main girl was about to kill her parents while one of the other girls in the group had a gun trained on her. So likely, that girl probably would have shot her anyway. So it feels like everything probably would have worked out in the end, except for maybe there may have been one or two more deaths, at the end of all of it. But I don't know. Most of the time, I see more from the team. I see more of their influence on the case. In this one, it felt like they just didn't do much of anything. It felt, honestly, this little group of criminals actually got about half of the episode to focus on them, while the other half was on the team and them trying to figure stuff out. So definitely a lot more time spent with the villains of this one rather than the team itself. And that's a big issue with this. I've said this before, talking about Criminal Minds. The team is really what captures my attention. Of course, now that you've thrown in a really boring individual on the team and you've taken away two of the more interesting characters in Hotch and Morgan, and now Spencer's not even there anymore. Now we've got Rossi and Prentice that are kind of interesting. We've got Garcia and Alves that are kind of interesting. And then Tara and JJ are just kind of pushed to the side and not really given a whole lot interesting to talk about. But I don't know. I feel like this should be the last season. You don't have Hotch anymore. You don't have Morgan anymore. Now you're just throwing at the table scraps practically of the team members. I hate it for the show, but I feel like it's got to end now. I think this is a good time to end. This show has really taken a downturn in the past couple seasons. Now would be a good time to say, okay, after the whole Mr. Scratch storyline is done, which hopefully they have something good building up there. After that's done, that's it. We're going to end it there. Don't know how they could end it, but I would love for them to end it right there because, good Lord, it's getting worse. Even the average episodes are still bad, like this one. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you like or dislike this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Criminal Minds reviews. I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.